What if the child you thought was dead was never killed at all? And what if the man who trusts you the most is also the one who doubts you the most? Hi friends, this is Manga with May. Today, truths come out, and some of them change everything. Rashta completely loses control. She accuses Viscount Loteshu of killing her child, her voice shaking, her emotions spilling over. But he doesn't react. No anger, no panic, just calm. And then he drops something shocking. He tells her he didn't kill the child because no matter what, it's still his grandchild. Rashta freezes because she saw the body with her own eyes. But Loteshu steps closer, lowering his voice, speaking to her like she's being naive. He tells her to stop seeing him as an enemy and start seeing him as something useful, a tool. Rashta immediately rejects him, slapping his hand away, refusing his help. But then, his tone turned cold. He reminds her that everything has an end, including the Emperor's love. Rashta insists that the Emperor loves her. But Loteshu brings up something cruel, something she can't ignore. You are the mud. Rashta clenches her fist. And this time, she doesn't argue. Because deep down, that fear is already there. Loteshu continues, warning her that the more she is loved, the more dangerous her position becomes. Other women will try to follow her path. Nobles' families will start sending educated daughters because Rashta is not a queen. And when the Emperor's love fades, she will have nothing. Then he makes his offer. He says he can make sure no other concubine enters the palace. He just needs access. And he tells her to think carefully. Back in the garden, Henry is casually talking with Navier. He explains that Queen doesn't like insects and instead prefers affection and very specific care. The conversation is light, easy, until he brings up her birthday. Navier is surprised he even knows. And Henry admits that's why he stayed after the New Year celebration. He wanted to be there for it. But then, Sovieshu appears, and the atmosphere changes instantly. What starts as polite conversation quickly turns sharp, especially when Sovieshu questions how long Henry plans to stay. Navier tries to excuse herself, but Sovieshu stops her. He asks for a private audience. He offers his arm, and Henry notices everything: the hesitation, the distance. When Sovieshu notices his expression, he questions it, and Henry answers honestly. He doesn't like having the people he walks with taken away. That's when Sovieshu makes it clear: she is my wife. And just like that, he takes Navier with him. Once they are alone, Sovieshu brushes Henry off as harmless, but warns that appearances matter, that rumors could damage the empire. Navier calmly disagrees, but the conversation quickly turns tense. When she brings up Rashta, he shuts it down immediately, almost defensively. And then he turns it on her, accusing her of being the one with the problem. That's where Navier draws the line. If this is how he's going to act, she'd rather leave. And just as she turns, he stops her and apologizes about the tissue. Navier accepts. She even smiles. But inside, she can't help but think it took him 3 days to say it. Then, he suggests something unexpected. Spending her birthday together at the royal villa to reconcile. Navier hesitates because as Empress, she understands what's expected of her. They need to look united, even if the truth is far from it. So she agrees with a smile. Later, Navier walks alone and finds Henry waiting by a fountain, casually playing with water. The moment he sees her, he brightens. She offers him a handkerchief, and he keeps it carefully, saying he'll return it next time so they can meet again. But then Navier gently tells him she won't be able to celebrate with him. She'll be going to the villa with the emperor. He is clearly disappointed, but he hides it well, saying he understands that he doesn't want to burden her. Back in his room, McKenna is not convinced, especially when he sees all the gifts Henry prepared. But Henry is distracted, completely focused on the handkerchief, smiling to himself. Then he transforms into Queen and asks McKenna to put it around his neck. Holding it close, that's when McKenna notices something, an initial, N. And suddenly, everything makes sense. At the library, Navier hears a soft knock. She turns, and her face lights up. Queen! She gently holds the bird, smiling in a way we rarely see. And without thinking, she smells the bird and mentions that the bird smells just like Prince Henry. And just like that, the bird panics and flies away, completely flustered. Henry is so flustered with what happened with Navier. Later, after he calms down, Henry runs into Rashta, and immediately she starts tearing up, like instantly. Is crying her only skill at this point? Her eyes fill with tears as she looks at him, trying her best to appear fragile, pitiful. She tells him that ever since the rumors about her past spread, people have been treating her badly, mocking her, looking down on her. But even then, he still treats her the same. She smiles through her tears, clearly hoping to move him, to gain his sympathy. But Henry doesn't fall for it. He simply acknowledges her words and walks away, cold. Because unlike others, he hasn't forgotten what she did. Duke Urgi has arrived, and instead of staying with Henry, he spends his time with Rashta after defending her publicly. Now, over tea, Rashta plays innocent, acting like she doesn't understand the rumors surrounding her. But Urgi isn't fooled, and he gives her a dangerous suggestion. If a rumor can't be erased, it can be redirected. And Rashta listens. The next morning, Navier finds a letter. Just 2 words. Trust me. She sets it aside. Today is important. So Vieshu himself had asked her to handle a diplomatic discussion with a distant kingdom. One so far away, it takes months just to reach. After the meeting, Navier approaches Duke Kaufman and asks him directly, why her? why chooses her after everything? And his answer is simple. Because she understood him, his words, his language. Something almost no one else could. Navier accepts because this is her role, her responsibility as Empress. But as she turns to leave, she meets Sovieshu again, the very man who entrusted her with this responsibility. His expression is dark, unsettled. And then, out of nowhere, Empress, are foreigners your type? Excuse me? Secrets are surfacing, alliances are shifting, and the cracks between the Emperor and Empress are getting harder to ignore. Because while Rashta is learning how to survive, Navier is starting to see the truth. Follow Navier's adventure by subscribing. Thank you for listening to Manga with May. I'll see you in the next episode.